made it no secret on this channel that I'm a big fan of the Japanese side of this modern era of Godzilla we're in. I've sung the praises of both Shin and -1, though at the same time, who hasn't? And then there's my most controversial Godzilla take. I like the Reiwa anime projects. In fact, I really like the Reiwa anime projects. I've been one of the anime trilogy's strongest soldiers since those movies first started coming out. You can check out my older reviews I made of them back when they dropped on Netflix if you want proof of that. And while I don't like Singular Point as much, I still find it to be a very fun and enjoyable series. Again, watch my review if you want to know more. The anime stuff has a very special place in my heart for basically redefining what I like about this series. There's so much history, over 60 years at the time Planet of the Monsters dropped, but even with all that, we have brand new projects that are able to take these massive swings with the established lore and characters, and for me anyway, were absolute home run takes. The anime trilogy in particular gave me top 3 versions of Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, and Ghidorah, and Singular Point's takes on Jet Jaguar and Rodan were also wonderful new interpretations of those characters as well. While the Monsterverse plays it way safer and gives fans and general audiences what they generally expect out of this genre, it's great to see Toho experimenting and taking chances with this franchise, and that's why I love it so much. So needless to say, I was eager to see what would come out of Godzilla's next animated adventure. Maybe a continuation of Godzilla Singular Point, building off the post-credits tease at the end of the show, or maybe they'd announce an adaptation of the new Godzilla manga, Galaxy Odyssey. I will tell you something though. I didn't expect this. So a little less than a week ago at the time of writing, Toho dropped this image and with it, this caption. Worldwide release, Godzilla new anime series production confirmed. For the first time in the series' over 70-year history, a story with a boy who possesses Godzilla's power as the protagonist begins. Is that boy human or Godzilla? And naturally, every Godzilla fan's collective reaction to this information was,
yes, my student.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And then after that, all hell broke loose. People lamenting how this wasn't SP Season 2 or a Galaxy Odyssey adaptation, accusations of it ripping off the likes of Kaiju number 8 or IDW's Kaisei series, and then naturally Scorn being thrown its direction for not being a quote-unquote traditional kaiju anime. Then of course, you did have some people holding their ground and saying that we'll hear them out and see how this goes. And then there's me. I think that one of the things that strikes me about the reaction to this new series so far is how we know a collective 3 things about it. So what do we know? Obviously we have the premise, that features some boy that will have Godzilla's power as the protagonist. It's abundantly clear by this first look that we're going far more into shonen action anime territory akin to Dragon Ball as opposed to any anime projects before, which is also coincidentally inspired my nickname that I'm going to be using for this show until we get an official title. Random Shonen Bullshit Go! Or Rosham Go for short. Yes, I know the acronym doesn't match, but just let me have this, okay? We also know who's going to be working on this. We have 2 studios attached, Orange, and if that name sounds familiar, they did the 3D animation for Singular Point, and Igloo Studio, a Thai animation studio that primarily does 3D animation and has worked on a handful of projects for Netflix. So it seems like we'll be getting another 3D animated Godzilla project, or at least another project that heavily features 3D animation. I'm not opposed to this because I think the work done for Singular Point specifically is very good, so I imagine it'll have the same level of quality. It's interesting to know that Igloo Studio is also attached to this because of their much more recent history with Godzilla. Earlier this year, Toho dropped a minute-long short with the purpose of announcing the Godzilla brand's further expansion into Southeast Asian markets, appropriately titled 70 Years of Godzilla, A New Roar in Southeast Asia. Igloo Studios did the visual effects for that short, and I do find it interesting that there are similarities between the design scene in this short and in the concept art for Rosham Go. Both designs have a similar muzzle shape and a similar brow. To me anyway, it seems like Rosham Go might be Toho's first step into getting Godzilla into this new market, but of course I could be wrong about that. We also have official statements from the heads of both Orange and Igloo, and also current executive producer Keiji Oda talking about their excitement to be working on the project. Cool. So that's kind of everything we know about Rosham Go so far. Obviously, it's not a lot, but through this, I have gathered my own thoughts on the series as of right now. It's gonna take a little bit explaining, but I want you guys to trust the process. Rosham Go, to me anyway, is just Chibi Godzilla. For those not in the know, Chibi Godzilla is Toho's way of expanding the Godzilla franchise out to a much younger demographic. What started out as just simple children's books and animated shorts released in 2019 has taken on a life of its own, with a whole internet web series and tons of merchandise to go around, also expanding its reach to be much more general audience centric, which is reflected in said web series Chibi Godzilla Raids Again. The point that I'm trying to make here is just like how Chibi Godzilla was made to expand the Godzilla franchise out to a new demographic that otherwise wouldn't get into the series, Rosham Go is doing much the same, only instead instead of aiming for young children, it's going towards the Southeast Asia region and or people that are into shonen anime that otherwise wouldn't find Godzilla to be very appealing. While some people may find this concept confusing, the fact is that Toho has been doing these sorts of things for much longer than just Chibi Godzilla. We've had tons of other Godzilla-related projects in which their purpose is to go and court new audiences. Both of the previous anime series had this in mind, and at the very least, the anime trilogy brought in a bunch of new female fans into the franchise. We've had other Godzilla projects aimed towards younger audiences like the Godzilla and OVAs back in the 90s, and even American attempts at Godzilla are ways of bringing in new American fans to the series. There's a lot of people whose only exposure to the franchise has been through the MonsterVerse and or 98, and obviously there have been big spikes in new fans that have come into the series thanks to these new American projects, and if you need evidence of that, you're watching one of those fans right now. Rosham Go to me is just another incredibly weird and bold swing at courting a new audience that Toho has been doing for decades now, and I don't really see anything wrong with it as a result. So you're probably thinking that I'm totally gonna watch this series and defend it to the end when it comes out, right? Well, obviously I'm not against the existence of Rosham Go, but just looking at this thing as it is, jeez-a-loo, this is weird. Say what you will about the anime trilogy or SP, but those still at least had people fighting against unstoppable forces beyond their understanding that also represent the horrors of our times. Keiichi Oda's statement that I glossed over before does mention this same sort of ideology, but I really do not know how you can apply that to this. Some dude with the powers of Godzilla is simply a splash of cold water to the face. Again, no one was expecting it. And yeah, as an SP enjoyer, I am bummed that we aren't getting a continuation, and as Galaxy Odyssey's strongest soldier, my immediate reaction upon seeing Rosham Go's announcement was,
oh, we were right there, man!
Galaxy Odyssey is so good, man. I should make a video on it. At the same time though, again, I'm a fan of the previous Godzilla anime project, so I have no real reason to be against this. And once trailers come out or the show itself drops and I end up not really caring for it, then I'll just ignore it and move on with my life. Again, it seems to be taking the direction of Chibi Godzilla where this is simply a new branch of the franchise that is intended to draw in new fans, and I think from that perspective, it frankly makes it easier to ignore if it does not end up being good. The fact is that a lot of people in this fandom just straight up don't engage in a lot of the media that isn't the films. I mentioned IDW's Kaisei series earlier, and I'll say that aside from issue 1 of Starship Godzilla that I only read because my friend had it and they let me read it while I was visiting them, I haven't gone into it at all. I haven't watched every episode of Chibi Godzilla Raids again either, or watched any of Godzilla Island, or Godzillaland, or the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla. The fact is that beyond the films, the rest of the franchise is this huge thing consisting of TV shows and comics and video games that you don't have to engage in if you don't care to, and Rosham Go is just another one of those things. If it comes out and I end up not caring for it, then oh well. But at the end of the day, this video is meant just to give my thoughts on this announcement and how I'm choosing to look at the series until we get more information about it. I don't know if Rosham Go will be my thing until we get more information about it, but until then, I'll walk with it to that pier and see if it ends up being good or not. And if it isn't, then oh well, whatever. I'll move on with my life. But of course, these were just my thoughts, and I want to know yours. What did you think of the announcement of Rosham Go? Will you be watching it? Will you not be watching it? And did anything that I say end up changing your mind? Be sure to sound off those thoughts and more down in the comments section down below. Be sure to follow my social medias, join my Discord server, and subscribe and click the bell icon if you liked what you saw and want to see more. Either way, I'm Sam the Geigen fan, telling you all to tip your waitress.